When the cameras stop rolling and the filters come off, that's usually when the real story begins. And right now, something heavy is unfolding behind the scenes that nobody can ignore. Melody didn't raise her voice. She didn't run to Instagram crying. She didn't throw shade or drop vague quotes. Instead, she did something far more dangerous. She stayed quiet, and she started collecting proof. Because when Martell crossed the line this time, it wasn't just messy, it was reckless. And Melody? She was ready. What makes this moment different is not the drama itself. We've seen arguments, breakups, and reality TV chaos before, but this feels colder, smarter, calculated. While Martell was busy moving loud and emotional, Melody was moving in silence. And silence, when backed by evidence, hits harder than any rant ever could. People thought she was done, that she was tired, that she was just trying to move on. But what nobody realized was that she was watching everything. And now, the proof is starting to surface. To really understand how we got here, you have to go back before the chaos went public, before the lies, the accusations, the damage control. Melody didn't just lose a relationship. She lost trust, stability, and the version of her life she thought she was building. She invested not just love, but years, loyalty, and her name into something she believed was real. And when that illusion cracked, it didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly, painfully, behind closed doors. From the outside, people saw a couple navigating fame, pressure, and business. But inside, Melody was dealing with control issues, emotional manipulation, and a man who cared more about how things looked than how they actually felt. She was expected to hold it together while everything around her fell apart. Smile for the cameras, keep the peace, protect the image. And for a long time, she did just that. Not because she was weak, but because she was trying to protect her family. Martell, on the other hand, learned early that noise worked for him. If he talked enough, posted enough, explained enough, people would believe his version. He leaned into charm, performance, and emotional speeches. And for a while, it worked. Fans defended him. Producers entertained him. The narrative stayed fuzzy. But Melody was paying attention. She noticed patterns, timelines, contradictions. She noticed how his words didn't always match his actions, and she started documenting. What nobody expected was how far Martell would push things once he felt like he was losing control. That's when the line got crossed, not just personally, but strategically. Moves were made that felt intentional, moments that felt staged, actions that looked less like healing and more like provocation. And instead of breaking Melody down, it flipped a switch. Because once you cross a woman who has already survived the worst of you, you unlock a version of her that doesn't play fair anymore. Here's where the story turns. While Martell was going live, venting, explaining, and spiraling, Melody was doing something else entirely. She was organizing. Screenshots, messages, financial details, dates, conversations, not emotional guesses, actual receipts. And this wasn't about revenge, this was about protection. Because when someone keeps trying to rewrite history, the only thing that stops them is evidence. Insiders started whispering that Melody wasn't just upset, she was prepared. Legal teams were involved, advice was being taken. Every public move Martell made was being watched closely. And the louder he got, the more he exposed himself. Because when you talk too much, you forget what you already said. And when you forget, contradictions pile up. Melody didn't need to expose him immediately. She let him do it himself. What shocked people the most was her restraint. No messy interviews, no public meltdowns, just calm, controlled distance. And that silence? It drove Martell crazy because he needed a reaction. He needed her to respond so he could pivot, spin, and perform. But she didn't give him that. Instead, she waited until the moment was right, until the proof spoke louder than words ever could. When the evidence finally started circulating, it wasn't dramatic screenshots thrown online. It was structured, detailed, clean. The kind of proof that doesn't trend for a day and disappear. The kind that sits in files, meetings, and courtrooms. And suddenly, the tone shifted. Martell wasn't confident anymore. His lives felt frantic. His explanations felt rushed. He kept saying there was more to the story, but the problem was Melody already had the whole book. People began revisiting old moments with new eyes. Scenes that once felt confusing now made sense. Things Melody said years ago suddenly sounded like warnings. Fans realized she wasn't bitter, she was tired. Tired of carrying the truth alone while someone else played victim. And now that the truth was backed by proof, the sympathy Martell once enjoyed started drying up fast. But here's the twist nobody expected. Melody wasn't just defending herself, she was redefining her power. Every move she made after that felt intentional. Business announcements, appearances, deals, growth. She wasn't hiding, she just wasn't explaining herself anymore. And that's when it became clear. This wasn't about winning an argument, it was about winning her peace. Martell tried to regain control by pulling old tactics, emotional posts, strategic appearances, even pulling other people into the narrative to soften his image. But each attempt only reminded people why Melody left in the first place. The manipulation, the distractions, the refusal to take accountability. And the more he tried to clean it up, the messier it looked. What really hit hard was how this affected the family dynamic. Because at the center of all this are children watching everything unfold. Melody didn't just have to think about herself, she had to think about what kind of environment she was protecting, what kind of behavior she was normalizing. And once she realized that silence and proof were safer than chaos and noise, she chose that path without hesitation. You could see the difference in her energy. Calmer, focused, unbothered. While Martell looked restless, constantly reacting, Melody looked grounded. And that contrast said everything. Because when someone is truly unbothered, they don't need to convince you. They let results speak. And Melody's results were loud. Brands noticed. Opportunities opened. Rooms shifted. She was no longer attached to the chaos. She became the example of what happens when a woman stops explaining herself and starts protecting herself. And that scared people who benefited from her silence before. Because a woman with receipts, boundaries, and peace is not easy to control. As the emotional dust settled, one thing became clear. Melody didn't drop proof to embarrass Martell. She dropped it to end the game. To stop the narrative manipulation, to draw a line that couldn't be crossed again. And once that line was drawn, everything changed. Martell now finds himself reacting instead of leading, defending instead of performing, and the consequences he once avoided are catching up quietly but steadily. The sympathy is gone, the patience is thin, and the audience that once cheered is now questioning everything. Melody, meanwhile, isn't celebrating. She's not gloating. She's building a future that doesn't depend on chaos, building a life that doesn't require explanation. And that's the most powerful part of this entire story. She didn't win by being louder. She won by being smarter. At the end of the day, this was never just about drama. It was about control, truth, and survival. Martell crossed the line thinking Melody would react emotionally. What he didn't expect was for her to respond strategically, and that mistake changed everything. Because when the proof drops, the noise fades. And when silence is backed by truth, it becomes unstoppable. Melody didn't just protect her name, she protected her legacy. And while others are still trying to spin the past, she's already stepped into her future. And that's the part that really hurts. Not the exposure, not the fallout, but the realization that the woman you underestimated is no longer playing the same game. She's playing a higher one, and this time she came prepared.